Okay. On January 13th, my dad, in 2011, my dad passed away, and he was working out of town. Actually, he was working out of the country. He was in Iraq, Afghanistan, Iraq, and he was 56 years old. And I was working out of town. I was in where I'm at now, Carrizo Springs, Texas, and about, I don't know, it was early. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. My wife called and she was crying and she didn't know what was going on, and she basically told me that something was wrong with Dad. You need to get home. You need to get home now. And of course, it's a 5-hour trip from where I work to home. So I remember going to get my brother, and of course, I found out that my dad had passed away, and we was on our way home, and I just remember how long a ride that was, how tough it was. Pretty much was in shock for days. Took a couple of days for the U.S. military to fly him from Iraq to Dover, Delaware. Still, I was constantly thinking about death, and just all the time thinking about death. And then, of course, we had the funeral and tried to get back to normal. I moved my wife and my little girl to Uvalde, which is about 40 miles north of where I work. And we was trying to get back to normal. We rented an apartment, and I guess we was getting back to normal. Our anniversary is March 21st, and the only place in Uvalde to eat that's really good is Applebee's in town. So we go to Applebee's, and I'd been having this problem. I really didn't think it was a problem, but I'd been having this problem. I was having a hard time swallowing. So when we went to Applebee's for our anniversary, I ate this steak, and I remember taking a bite of the steak, and it just would not go down. It just wouldn't go past my chest. So I basically have to run to the bathroom and get it up. And I come back, and I told my wife, Leslie, I said, you got to make me an appointment. Something's wrong with me right here. My chest is killing me. And so that next week, she makes me a doctor's appointment, and I go to the doctor, and he basically tells me that it's probably indigestion, and they're going to run a tube down my throat. And long story, the following week, I go to do an endoscopy, and they shove this camera down my throat, and it's got a balloon on it, and they're going to balloon it open. Well, whenever they shove the camera down my throat, they find a tumor in my esophagus, about the size of the tip of your middle finger. It's a pretty good size, and of course, they put me to sleep while they do this endoscopy, and I wake up, and my wife's crying again, and the doctor's there, and I'm trying to wake up, and they're trying to explain to me, hey, everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. You just need to go. Basically, the doctor told me I need to go back to Houston so I can go to MD Anderson. Whenever he found out I lived in Houston, he said, that's the best place in the world for you to live. You need to go home. So, like I told y'all, I was in Uvalde, and that was on a Friday. Well, I had to go in the next Monday to at least tell the company that I worked for what was going on. And I just remember that from Friday to Monday being the longest 2 days, 3 days in the world. You get told by the doctor that he's 99% sure that it's cancer, and it's esophageal cancer. the hardest thing in the world is you go home, you look it up on the computer. I remember, and I didn't look it up, but I remember, I didn't look it up this time for this, but I remember going home and looking it up on the computer and esophageal cancer, and the first thing it said was 16,000 people that year found out that the year before, found out they had cancer, and 14,000 people that year before died of esophageal cancer. 16,000 people found out they had esophageal cancer, 14,000 people died of esophageal cancer. So I'm thinking, man, I'm dead, you know, I'm dead. This is going to kill me. So, keep moving. We come back to Houston. I tell my company's long story, but they're great to me. Come back to Houston. We're having a problem getting into MD Anderson. We didn't know that you had to go through your personal doctor and you had to go through these tests. And so we finally get on the phone and making a few phone calls, and it's about 2 weeks there. Of course, I'm just thinking, man, I'm dead. I've got a wife, and my little girl's 1 year old at this time, and I'm just mad at myself because, you know, I'm going to leave them behind, and here I am going to leave my wife with a 1 year old, and what am I going to do? So we finally find out that I need to have a few tests run, and one of these tests is I got to go to have a CAT scan, and I got to go to the Bay Area Boulevard over there and have a CAT scan. So I go to the CAT scan, and they make me drink this barium, and I drank this barium. If you ever drank the barium, it tastes like chalk. It's nasty, but I had to drink 2 of them, and the first one I had to drink in like 15 minutes, and then I had to go wait for 30 minutes and then come back and drink the other one. And when I get back, I drank the other one. They take me back there to the room, and I remember them laying me on this bed, and basically they're going to give me this CAT scan with contrast and with one without. So I'm going to have 2 scans. And I remember they put this IV in my arm, and I'm laying there on this bed, and on this metal table, actually. It's not a bed, it's not comfortable at all. And the boy tells me, he says, hey, I'm going to shove you through here, and we're going to do the one without contrast, and I'm going to pull you out, and you'll hear me come across and tell you that I'm going to put the contrast in your arm. And I said, okay. And he said, whenever you get this contrast in your arm, you're going to have this warm feeling come over you. And I said, all right. So he runs me in this thing, and when he pulls me back out, I remember just looking over and seeing this big old tube. It's huge, and it's got this dye in it. And I remember seeing this thing just run down. It's just really fast. And it's shoving into my arm, and I got scared real fast. And I'm thinking, man, how is my vein holding all this dye? And then all of a sudden, this warm feeling just come over me, like, oh no, what is that? And I remember right there on that, this is the first time I really prayed, Lord, help me. don't know what to do. I'm so scared right now. I just remember, like, not knowing what to do. I knew that I was fixing to go through major changes in my life, and I knew I was fixing to have things happen in my body that most normal people wouldn't have. Chemo and radiation, I knew all that was coming. But that first dye, it's just hard to explain that the dye rushing into your body and the feeling you get over your body. So basically, I just prayed to God, please help me. I need your help. So we get out of there. I go home, and that's right before Easter. And because of my dad passing away, my mom started looking for a church because she was having, issues with death and what happens. And so she started coming here. And it was right before Easter. And she come here, and we was fixing to have our Easter party here. And my mom asked us, if we would like to come to the Easter party here. And me and my wife was like, sure, we'll come up here. So we come up here, and we have loads of fun that Easter. and of course, we meet Pastor Mike. We got invited to come to church. So we start coming to church here, and of course, love every minute of it. Start learning more about Jesus and God and my relationship with Jesus. And I ended up accepting Christ into my life in Alvin at a Kelly's restaurant. I never remember the feeling I get. I never forget the feeling I got that day. Just the calmness that come over me, and just the way I look at life anymore is like, I don't know, I started forgetting about dying, started forgetting about worrying about dying, started thinking more about living, and really, I guess, honestly, just not worried about dying as much, because it's not going to be so bad when you die. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but in some ways I kind of look forward to it. I mean, it's going to be great. It's going to be, it's going to be a great day. Really kind of struggled on how to end this, so I guess I'm Michael Baugh, and that is my second story. Thank you.